Good afternoon. It's 1 o'clock and time for the St. John Daily Word. I'm Pastor Ron Genaro, and I welcome you this afternoon and have several announcements for you and then a very brief devotional. I want to remind everyone that we are one service still until this Sunday, 9:30 this Sunday. This says don't forget to wear your Hawaiian shirt, but this week and for this week, we are encouraging folks to wear their college that they root for, because football season begins in earnest next week. I know last weekend there were a couple of games that took place, but they're in earnest. Most of the teams are playing, so if you want to wear a t-shirt, go ahead. Bonus points if you have a Hawaiian shirt that has your school. I have one. That's what I'll be wearing, the school that I root for. But we encourage you to just show your school spirit. I also want to remind you we have a potluck following the service that is going to be for Labor Day. And so that is next Sunday, August 31st, after worship in the fellowship hall. You needed to sign up this past week, but you can call in too, and we'll add your name to the list. We also want to remind you that on Tuesdays and Thursdays we have exercise, and that is in the fellowship hall, and we encourage folks to come and be a part of that. It's at 11 a.m., and then they are finished at noon. If you have any questions, call Paula Penzine, but it's 11 a.m. in the fellowship hall. The wake-up call is doing something special. It starts September 1st, and it is reading through the Gospels, one chapter a day. There are 89 chapters when you start in Matthew and work all the way to John's Gospel. We had a video on Sunday. We'll have the same thing this Sunday. And what we have is from J.D. Walt. He'll be leading that. He reads them. He speaks. You can do it either by reading them or you can listen to the audio version. I'm actually going to do the audio version this time during this season. Usually I read the Daily Word, sometimes, or the Daily Wake Up Call. Janine often listens to it, but I'm going to try and listen to it. We also wanted to remind you that Bible study returns tomorrow at 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. a.m. 1 p.m. in the sanctuary or online. We are picking up again with the book of Exodus, where we stopped and let off. And I think that, Grief Share. We have two more announcements. Grief Share begins September 11th. It's probably not going to be in the education building. It will be in the fellowship hall at least the first and maybe even the second week. And the reason for that is because we are doing repairs in the education building. We're hoping to get those started this week or next. We're working with a contractor, and there are a couple of different trades that have to come in, and it's a dance as that all plays out. Also, the St. John Fellowship meals begin in September. The first Friday, there will actually be, Ladies' First Friday will be meeting. And then also, and Janine, what time is that at? First Friday is at 10, and they have a program. We encourage you to come and be a part of that. And then that evening at 5 o'clock, there'll be a meal, a fellowship meal. I'm not sure yet what the meal is. There'll be a sign-up sheet this Sunday for that and more information. St. John Golf League, every Friday in August. Be there before 7:45 checked in. We have an 8:17 tee time. And we had 8 golfers last week. We didn't finish the whole round because of the rain as it was coming. We wisely picked up just before it hit in earnest. Otherwise, we would have looked like drowned rats. I mean, it came down heavy as soon as we got off the course. But every Friday we play, and we have enough for right now we have enough for 3 groups of 4. The most we've had is 8, but I think in September we should be having somewhere between 10 and 12 each week. Also, we want to remind you our office hours are 8 to 2:30 p.m. Monday through Thursday. Parkway Food Ministry, we are always accepting food in the narthex in the box that says for Parkway Food Ministry. Non-perishables, canned goods, peanut butter, and cereal. Today I have just one verse for you, and that is John chapter 1, verse 14. You may recall last Thursday I talked about John 1, 1 through 5, which is about the incarnation. And this sums it up. So it's John chapter 1, verse 14. And the Word became flesh and lived among us. And we have seen his glory, the glory as of a Father's only Son, full of grace and truth. This tells us the incarnation, that the Word that was God, that dwelt with God, who was the light and the life of the world, has come and taken to himself flesh and lived among us. That's why the life of Jesus is so important. And as we begin to work through the Gospels and read the Gospels, one chapter each day with seedbed, we will get more of a portrait of who Jesus is and know who he is. If we don't know those scriptures, if we don't read those scriptures, we only get what we think and what we bring to who Jesus is, rather than come to the truth and hear the truth about him. So he became flesh and lived among us. This is powerful, folks. You know, in the Greek mythology, there were all these different things where the Greek gods would come and interact with humans, usually to have intercourse and to spawn children. That's what the leader of the Greeks, and I've forgotten his name all of a sudden, but the leader of the Greeks, Hercules, was the product of an offspring between a human mother, and they called them demigods and all this kind of stuff. This is not what occurred in the New Testament. This is God, yes, becoming flesh through Mary, his mother, and Jesus of Nazareth, who is God in the flesh, who has come and lived among us. This is more like that great Mark Twain story, The Prince and the Pauper, where God came to see us and to experience what we were, but also with a purpose, to reveal God's glory and to redeem us. In The Prince and the Pauper, you may recall that there were twins who were separated at birth. One was the prince, the other was poor, a street urchin, and the prince decided to swap places with him. And that works out. It was one of Twain's humorous, obviously most of his writing was humorous, and just the ironies of all of those things. But what we experience here is this, that Jesus comes, who lives among us to see what it is like to experience what we experience, but also to prepare himself to be the perfect sacrifice on our behalf. And so he comes, he reveals the glory of his Father. And he actually tells us elsewhere in the Gospels that if you've seen him, you have seen the Father. As you experience his mercy and his forgiveness and his healing, you have experienced God, his Father. He is full of grace and truth. What he says to us matters, and it is trustworthy. The problem for us is we want to pick and choose often what Jesus tells us. But we're like that with things. Sometimes my wife will tell me I have selective hearing. Usually when I'm watching sports, it's very selective. But, you know, we don't want to have that. We want to experience Jesus fully, because as we experience him, we meet and we experience his Father and the Spirit. We want to be people who are fully invested in ourselves, in who God is, so that we may know God and know with assurance that we belong to him. God bless you and have a great day today. This is where I remind you that God loves you, this church loves you, and I love you as your pastor. Bye now. We'll see you at Bible study on Tuesday.